Hey spicy ladies, I'm so glad you're here today because we're diving into something that's going to change the way you think about physical connection. Whether you're in a new relationship, talking to someone you're excited about, or just want to feel more confident in your own skin. Picture this, you're sitting next to him, laughing at something he said, and your hand casually brushes his knee, just a light, fleeting touch. But suddenly the air feels charged, his eyes lock onto yours, and everything slows down. That's the power of touch done right, ladies. And today, I'm showing you how to make that magic happen. Let's start with a question. Have you ever touched a man, maybe just a hand on his arm? A brush of your finger sand felt a shift? Like something electric passed between you in that split second. And maybe he leaned in, maybe his eyes changed, maybe the whole moment just slowed down. That's not random, it's energy, it's awareness. It's the power of touch when you do it with intention. Most people think turning a man on means being super obvious, tight clothes, bold moves, direct advances, and there's nothing wrong with owning your sexuality, but that's not what makes a man truly obsessed. What makes him feel something he doesn't feel with anyone else? What does? A woman who knows how to touch with intention, who doesn't just touch but communicates through it, creating anticipation, building emotional intimacy, and physical tension without saying a word. Suddenly, that man, no matter how confident or in control, starts to melt. That's what we're talking about today. I'm going to walk you through 5 powerful, sexy, and emotionally intelligent tips to turn him on using nothing but your presence and your touch. These aren't about manipulation or performing, they're about amplifying what's already inside you. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to bring more intention to what you already do. So whether you're cuddling on the couch or standing next to him in a crowded room, I want you to have the tools to create that electric chemistry that makes him feel like he can't get enough of you. Let's dive in. First up, let's talk about one of the most underrated and honestly most irresistible ways to turn a man on: the accidental touch. Why is this so powerful? Because it doesn't scream, "I'm trying to seduce you," whispers. This connection is so natural, I didn't even have to try. When you master the accidental touch, you create a moment that feels spontaneous, unscripted, real, and in a world where most people try too hard, that kind of effortless sensuality is addictive. The magic lies in the touches that seem like they weren't supposed to happen, the ones that linger just a second longer than expected, the ones that blur the line between innocent and intimate. Think about this. It's right now, and you're sitting next to him. You laugh at something he says, and your hand casually touches his knee, like, natural, no big deal. But to him, that moment hits hard. His brain lights up, his senses go on high alert, because now he's wondering, was that on purpose? Does she even realize what she just did? That question mark creates tension. Or maybe you're walking past him in a crowded space, and you gently place your hand on his lower back to get by just a brief, guiding touch. But it shows confidence, presence, a quiet ownership of your energy. It's not about being forward, it's about claiming your space in a feminine, self-assured way. Here's another example. You're sitting side by side talking, and your legs brush for a second. Instead of pulling away quickly, you let the contact linger, not long enough to be obvious, but just enough to leave an imprint. The key is not to overthink it. The second you make it feel rehearsed, the effect disappears. This is about flow, about being present in your body, aware of your physicality and how you move through space. If you're grounded in that, your touch speaks for you. A confident woman doesn't need to grab his face or jump in his lap to get attention. She uses the power of subtlety, letting him feel her without fully having her. That's what keeps him leaning in. So practice the art of the accidental touch. Make it playful, make it soft, let it seem unintentional, even though you know exactly what you're doing. Because when a man starts to feel your energy through a touch that barely registers, that's when he starts thinking about you long after you're gone. That's when the real seduction begins, and that's how you create a connection he can't stop craving. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Now that we've talked about the magic of accidental touch, let's move into the second tip that'll take your physical connection from nice to magnetic using contrast. Specifically the contrast between light and firm touch. A lot of people stick to one mode. Ladies, they either touch too softly all the time, which can feel sweet but lacks impact, or they go into heavy, which can feel overwhelming or aggressive. But when you learn to blend the two, that's when your touch becomes unforgettable. It's all about creating a dance between those two energies, and it's such a powerful way to turn him on. Here's what I mean by contrast. Start with a feather-like graze on his skin, maybe your fingertips gently running along his arm while he's talking, or a barely there touch across the back of his neck as you lean in close. That soft touch, that whisper of connection activates his senses in a specific way. It's teasing, it's playful, it's saying, I'm here but I'm not all in just yet. Then, at just the right moment, you shift gears. You apply a firmer touch, maybe you rest your full hand on his chest while looking into his eyes, or you gently grip his forearm as you say something personal or passionate. That slight pressure creates a grounded, secure sensation. It makes him feel your presence, telling his body, she's not just teasing mesh, she's connected. That shift between soft and firm is like an emotional roller coaster for his senses. He doesn't just feel turned on, he feels alive with you. Physical connection is about more than just pleasure. It's about creating waves of energy that move through him, waves that pull him in and leave him wanting more. You're not just touching his skin, you're playing an instrument, and the music is in the variation. Picture this, it's right now, and you're sitting beside him. You start with your fingers lightly tracing circles on his legs, slow, rhythmic, gentle, then out of nowhere. You squeeze his thigh for just a second and go right back to the light touch. That one moment of intensity, that firmness, is what he'll feel echoing in his body hours later. I had a friend who used this technique so well last summer, around June 2024, so about a year ago from today. She was on a date, and while they were talking, she started with a light touch on his hand, just her fingertips brushing his skin. Then, when he said something funny, she laughed and placed a whole hand on his arm, giving it a gentle squeeze before going back to the soft graze. She told me he got this look in his eyes, like he was suddenly hyper-aware of her, and later he admitted that shift in touch made him feel both teased and grounded at the same time. That's the power of contrast. It's not just physical, it's emotional. It says, I can be soft with you, and I can be strong with you. It shows him you have range, that you're tuned in, playing with the moment, not just going through the motions. Contrast works because it keeps him on his toes. She never knows exactly what's coming next, and that uncertainty builds tension. It's like you're telling a story with your touch, one that has highs and lows, softness and strength, and he's hanging on to every moment, waiting to see what you'll do next. So don't be afraid to switch it up. The most powerful sensual touch isn't one notates a dance between opposites. When you master contrast, you're not just touching his body, you're touching his attention, his curiosity, his desire. That's when things start heating up in a way he'll never forget, because you're not just making him feel good, you're making him feel alive. Now that we've covered the power of contrast, let's talk about the third tipone of the most overlooked but emotionally electric places you can touch a man, his face. I know it might sound simple, ladies, because we often think of the face as a neutral zone, a place for conversation or eye contact, not necessarily seduction. But here's the truth. If you want to turn a man on in a way that feels deeply personal, intimate, and even a little soul-stirring, touch him where he feels the most seen, his face. When you do this right, it's not just physical, it's a moment that hits him on a deeper level. Here's the psychology behind it. When you touch a man's face gently, intentionally, without rushing, you're sending a different signal than when you touch anywhere else on his body. You're not just saying, I desire you physically, you're saying, I feel close to you emotionally. That combination of desire and intimacy is a cocktail he can't resist. Think about this. It's right now, and he's talking to you, maybe sharing something sincere or vulnerable. Instead of just nodding, you reach up and gently run your fingers along his jawline as you smile. That touch, soft, affectionate, grounding, feels like emotional reassurance. It tells him, I'm here with you, I'm tuned in. Or let's say you're leaning in for a kiss. Most people go straight for it, lips to lips, done. But if you take a second to cup his face, slide your fingers through his hair, or let your palm rest on the side of his neck, you create a moment. You build intimacy before the passion even starts, and that's the moment that lingers. I had a friend who tried this last fall around October 2024, so about 7 months ago from today. She was with her partner, and they were having a quiet moment on the couch. He said something sweet, and instead of just kissing him, she reached up, held his face with both hands, and looked into his eyes for a second before kissing him. She said it was like time slowed down, he melted into her, and later he told her that moment felt so personal, so connected, like she was seeing him in a way no one else had. Men don't get touched on the face that often, not unless they're in a moment of romance or love. So when you go there, especially before things get fully physical, you awaken something deeper in him. It's not just about chemistry anymore, it's about connection, closeness, feeling chosen in a way that goes beyond the physical. There's another layer to this. When you touch his face, you slow everything down. You take the edge off the rush, bringing him into the present moment. That's when he starts feeling you, not just in his body, but in his heart, in his nervous system, in that primal part of him that craves closeness as much as passion. It's such a small gesture, but it's so powerful because it's intentional. You're not just touching him, you're telling him, I see you, I'm with you, I want all of you. That kind of touch creates a memory, not just a moment. So don't skip over his face like it's just a pit stop on the way to somewhere else. Make it part of the journey, part of the seduction. Let your fingers linger along his jaw, trace the outline of his cheek, or rest your hand on his neck as you look into his eyes. It's a way of saying, you're mine in this moment, without needing words. When you touch him there, with that kind of presence, he'll feel it in a way that goes straight to his core. And trust me, he'll be hooked not just on your body, but on the way you make him feel seen. Let's move into the fourth tip. And this one's all about creating a magnetic connection through touch by mastering the art of mirroring his energy. I want you to think about this for a second, ladies. Have you ever been with someone who just got your rhythm? You moved a certain way, they followed. You spoke softly, they leaned in. You reached for their hand, they met you halfway. That flow, that beautiful harmony between two people, that's what mirroring does. When it comes to touch, mirroring is like saying, I feel you, I see you, I'm in sync with you. And it's one of the most powerful ways to not only turn a man on, but to build a real electric connection with him. Here's the truth. Sexual chemistry doesn't come from how bold or dramatic your touch is. It comes from how attuned you are to his vibe in the moment. When you mirror his energy, his touch, his pace, his presence, it sends a message that you're not just physically there, you're emotionally tuned in. Let's break this down with an example. It's right now, and you're sitting with him during a quiet moment. He gently places his hand on your thigh. Most people might freeze or overreact, but if you know how to mirror, you respond with equal energy. You might place your hand over his, or lightly trail your fingers down his arm at the same pace, same pressure. You're not overpowering him, and you're not pulling away, you're matching him, creating an emotional language between you. It's like saying, I'm here with you, I feel the mood you're in, and I'm flowing with it. Or imagine he touches your hand slowly while you're watching a movie together. Instead of overlooking that moment, you take your thumb and start tracing circles on the back of his hand, mirroring his gentleness. You're not just touching him, you're speaking his energy back to him. This makes a man feel safe, seen, and turned on all at once, because the physical connection isn't about performance, it's about alignment. He doesn't feel like he has to chase or manage the moment. He feels like you're dancing with him, step for step. I had a friend who used this technique so beautifully last winter, around December 2024, so about 5 months ago from today. She was with her partner, and they were having a cozy night in. He reached for her hand during a quiet moment, his touch soft and slow. Instead of just holding his hand, she mirrored his energy by gently running her fingers along his palm, matching his pace. She said it was like they were in their own little bubble. Their touches started to flow together, and it created this intimate, unspoken connection that made the whole night feel magical. He told her later that he felt so understood in that moment, like she was really with him. The beauty of mirroring is that you can even lead the energy if you want. If he's being slow and still, you can mirror that stillness, then gradually turn up the heat, maybe bring your body closer, let your hand move more boldly, and watch how he starts to mirror you back. That's when the dynamic becomes a shared experience, where you're both locked in, responding, building tension together. That's what real intimacy feels like. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you respond to each other. When you mirror his energy, you're saying, we're in this together. I'm feeling what you're feeling. I'm not forcing, I'm flowing. That's not just sexy, it's irresistible. So the next time you're with him, pay attention to his energy. Is he touching you softly? Match that softness. Is he being playful? Mirror that playfulness with your touch. When you tune into his vibe and let your touch reflect it, you create a connection that feels effortless, natural, and deeply intimate. It's like you're building a bridge between you with every touch, and that's the kind of chemistry that keeps him coming back for more. Let's dive into the fifth and final tip. And this one's a game changer. It's about knowing when to pull away. I know that sounds counterintuitive, ladies, because we usually think turning someone on is all about escalation, more heat, more closeness, more intensity. But here's the truth. Desire isn't just created by presence, it's created by absence, by the space between moments. The woman who knows when to pull away, not out of disinterest, but with intention, becomes unforgettable. When you master this, you're not just touching him, you're creating a longing that makes every moment more electric. Let me paint a picture. It's right now, and you're in a close moment with him. Your fingers are trailing down his arm. Maybe your lips just grazed his neck, or you're pressed up against him while whispering something in his ear. He's fully tuned in mind, body, everything. Then you stop. You lean back slightly, let your hand drop, shift your body just an inch away. What happens in that moment? He leans in, because that space you created isn't rejection, it's an invitation. It's the moment his mind goes, wait, don't stop, come back. Suddenly, he's not just enjoying your touch, he's chasing it. Pulling away at the right time builds tension, and tension is the foundation of attraction. It keeps him wondering, what's next? When do I get more? Is she going to touch me again? You've just taken control of the energy in the room without saying a word. I had a friend who used this so well last spring, around March 2024. So about 14 months ago from today. She was with her partner, and they were in this heated moment on the couch. She was running her hand down his chest, getting closer, and just when he thought she was going to kiss him, she pulled back, held his gaze for a second, and smiled. She said his whole body shifted, he leaned toward her, almost instinctively, and later he admitted that pause made him want her even more. That's the power of pulling away. It creates a craving. The key here is how you pull away. It's not about shutting him down or creating emotional distance. It's about creating contrast. You go from closeness to a pause, from intensity to stillness, and in that stillness, his mind starts racing. It's like music. A great song isn't just a string of loud notes. It has pauses, rests, moments of silence that make the next note hit harder. Your touch works the same way. When you're close and then suddenly not, it makes him crave the next touch more than the last. That anticipation is what makes the next moment of contact electric. So try this. The next time you're in a romantic moment, instead of escalating, take a second to pause. Maybe you run your hand down his chest, then walk away. Maybe you kiss him once, slowly, then pull back and hold eye contact. That space you just created, that's where his desire builds. Let's bring this all together. Turning a man on with touch isn't about being over the top or following some perfect script. It's about being intentional, present, and connected. The kind of touch that stays in his mind long after you're gone isn't the loudest, it's the one that made him feel the most. It's the way you accidentally brush against him, leaving a trail of curiosity. It's how you switch from light to firm, making his body pay attention. It's how you let your hand explore his face, showing him you see him in a way that's deeply personal. It's how you mirror his energy, creating a dance where you're both in sync. And finally, it's how you pull away at the perfect time, making him miss the touch he didn't realize he was addicted to until it was gone. Touch is a language, and when you speak it fluently, with confidence, patience, and playfulness, you don't just turn him on, you pull him in emotionally, physically, even spiritually. So here's your invitation. Don't wait for the perfect moment, create it. The next time you're close to someone, don't default to routine. Be conscious, be slow, be bold. Use your touch as an extension of your energy, as a way to say everything you don't say out loud. Because when you do, you won't just be the woman he's attracted to in the moment, you'll be the woman he remembers, the one he can't stop thinking about, the one who made him feel something he can't find anywhere else. Now go out there and make every touch count. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies, make life beautiful. See you in our next video.